The C&L we have here will be a great choice for the 96 to 01 GT owners out there who are looking for a no tune required CARB-certified intake with one of the largest filters in the category. Now the C&L will feature an 80mm mass airflow housing, which will accommodate that stock MAF sensor, essentially making this thing a plug and play deal. So let's call it a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and we will have a little bit more detail on the install later in the video. So the design of the C&L that we have here, guys, places that massive filter directly in the engine bay, which is a design that you don't see a whole lot with the SN95. I would say a majority of the manufacturers tend to use a smaller filter and place it in the inner fender well. Now what I can tell you between the two is that a larger filter will make for more surface area and ultimately need to be cleaned a lot less compared to those smaller filters, but at the end of the day, the performance between the two designs will be very similar. But let's talk a little bit more about some of the finer details with the C&L. And on the surface, guys, you're going to find an aluminum intake tube in silver here, along with a separate 80mm mass airflow housing, all of which are joined by the blue couplers and the included hardware and clamps. Now, you're also getting this very large high flow oiled filter, which we've already talked about, and the entire system has been constructed in the USA, and again, is CARB certified, making it 50 state legal. As mentioned earlier, the C&L does not require the use of a custom tune, so 2-valve owners can take advantage of this system, squeeze a little bit more power and a little bit more sound out of the ride, along with improving throttle response in the process. Of course, throwing a tune into the mix is only going to increase those power gains at the end of the day, but that is your call. Let's switch gears and briefly talk about the installation, and as we mentioned earlier, this one is going to be pretty straightforward overall. So 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and that's typically going to be the case for any aftermarket cold air, as they are one of the easier modifications to tackle for any experience level. As far as time in the garage, well, that will depend on your experience and just how fast you like to work. Typically, you should be able to get this thing in place in about 30 minutes to an hour of your time. Now, before getting started, you'll need to remove that factory intake first using a basic socket set or even a screwdriver. With the intake out of the way, go ahead and transfer over your mass airflow sensor and prep the new C&L for install. Now, me personally, I like throwing these things together first on a workbench or table, then dropping them into the engine bay in one piece. I just find it a little easier that way, but you can do whatever works best for you. With everything assembled, go ahead and drop it into your engine bay, connect the intake to your throttle body, tighten up your clamps of course, plug in the hoses you disconnected in the first step, tighten up that heat shield, and your installation is complete. So wrapping this one up, guys, if you're after a quality cold air system for your 96 to 01 GT, then be sure to check out a C&L right here at AmericanMuscle.com.